Well, hi, and welcome to my shop here on July 27th, a rainy day. So I'm going to be in here, I think, a little bit anyway. What I want to work on, what needs to be worked on, is the cartridge. And at the end of the last video, I'm about 95% sure the cartridge that came with this record player has a dead channel. So the owner also provided two more cartridges. I'm not sure what the story is behind them, but there they are. They're an exact match for the one that's in here. So we're going to test these and see if I can get either of these to produce something on both channels. And we have quite a selection of needles between all those to take a look at too, if we get that far. So I'm just going to look for voltage developed by the cartridge. It's a little bit awkward doing this. Yeah, I may not be able to do it like this. Okay, still kind of awkward here. Zero. Pull those right off. It certainly is producing there. Not quite zero. Producing there. So this guy's got something on both channels. Seemed like one was weaker than the other, but this test is not. That, good. Not a zero. Okay, lots of voltage there. Looks like this one will produce about a half a volt. That's what it kind of looks like. Okay. And so these two are producing. The one that's in here, not so much. Zero. There we go. That side. What do they make of that? I just proved the cartridge is working on both sides. Well, one of these four contacts is slightly depressed from the others. So not making contact. Thought I proved that contact was good. Okay, we need to, okay, we're all set up here for listening to this cartridge again. Okay, let me put up the volumes here. Bit of a hum. Pretty clearly one side here. I'm only hearing one side. Let's try touching the wires again. What's all that noise? Oh, just hear it in one ear. Looking for a hum here. What was that? It's gonna look. I better look at what we're doing here. Maybe. I think this is gonna work anyway. Setting up the other camera. Can we see up in there? Kinda. Just 1 second here. Change the focus just a little bit. There. Well, it's still hard to tell what's going on up there, but gotta get my hand right in front of the camera. I'm trying to keep my finger on the, this is bad here, just a second. Let's try this. So I'm trying to keep my finger on the shaft here so there's some noise to inject. That sounds like what you would expect. Oh. What happened there? Kept going and then it stopped. Okay, I'm going to put a clip lead on there. Get a continuous hum going. Well, the other end of the clip lead I'm touching is not doing anything. Now, this is this contact. Stereo. Okay. So it certainly looks like a contact problem, probably in the head shell. Maybe that piece that's not sprung up as high as the rest. The two on the right are very high, and the two on the left are very low. Wonder what happened. It's a spring material, it's a little hard to adjust, but let's give it a try. Easy to adjust. Not very good spring material if you can bend it like that so easily. Is that all it was? Let's find out here. And we're on channel again. Very close look at the wires here. Wow, there's a lot of fairly clumsy soldering going on there. Got one that's barely on. Because it's full of solder, I suspect. There's our problem. It's really hard to see with this camera, but what has happened is the pin has pulled out of the right out of the cartridge down there. And what could have happened is that somebody may have tried soldering with the pin sleeves in place on the pins. And if you do that, you're going to transmit a lot of heat right up into the cartridge. These are very delicate things, these cartridges. There's a reason why they use slip-on connectors here. You're not supposed to have them slipped on and then be applying solder. And one of them is bunged up. Well, I guess the one that won't go on all the way is suggestive that the soldering was done not on the while the sleeves were not on, but who's to say? In any case, this is a wreck. This is a wreck. You can see parts coming right out of it. So these pins on the back, they must go up. There's got to be 2 crystals inside here, and those pins have to lead to wires which connect to a crystal. Now if you think about that for a minute, how do you connect a wire to a crystal? You do it with pressure, and I think right at the end of the part I pulled out there, there's some springy looking piece of metal, but it may be all distorted because I yanked it out. So I've never opened up one of these cartridges and really looked inside or anything like that. Okay, so the story's done with this guy. We will, whether I really killed it here or whether it was really a dying guy. I think it was dying. I think the contact was getting poor against the crystal inside. That's what I think. Okay, so we're going to put, we have 2 others here, so we can easily put one of the 2 others in there. Gee, I got to make a choice between the 2 of them. They tested quite similar. Why don't we switch now? We'll take a look at some needles. That'll tell us about mileage on these cartridges. Maybe. Yeah, let's do that. We'll check the needles out. We'll pick hopefully a good needle. Yeah, you can see the needle right on that one right now. But I'm going to get it under the microscope here. Okay, well here's the needle that was right on the record player. That's and it's a flip needle. It's two needles. Well, I was hoping one of them would be kind of a sapphire color. The one that is pointing to the right is the LP33 microgroove needle, and the one that's pointing to the left is the 78 needle. Now this is a really good view of it, because if you look at the microgroove needle on the right, if you look at the point, you can see it's a finer point than the one on the left, the 78 needle. The 78 needle is designed to ride in a much larger groove than the microgroove. That was a big thing when the LP, long playing records, came out. Grooves were smaller, tighter, get more tracks around the record, more music on it. So instead of a single song, you can get 4 songs on a side, or even more, depending upon, of course, the length of the song. So if we look at that, the needle on the right, we see a shape coming from the cantilever, just a cylinder. And then that changes to a conical shape. And if you follow the conical shape down, you'll see maybe 2/3 of the way down there's a change. And the tip looks a little different than the rest of it. So the last, say, 15% of that needle arrangement looks different than the first. The last little bit is the diamond. That is the diamond. The rest of it is not. There's some needles, the diamond will get ripped right off, and you just have the whatever that material is that holds on to the diamond left. The diamond tip is really quite sharp on this needle, and I don't see any evidence of a flat spot at all. This looks like a needle that has 0 wear on it. That's about what it looks like. So we have one real good one here. Okay. Let's look at the next one. I might have some trouble getting this in focus right away. This is one of the 2 good ones. Oh, we see a distortion in it already here. Let me just see if I can zoom in without crashing into it. Okay, I'm going to have to raise the stage here just a little bit. Okay. Let's see if we can focus. It was just beyond the focus limit of the... So now this looks... Now there's a lot of... lots of things to talk about here. So first of all, the yellow piece that the needle arm rides in, the yellow piece is what transmits the motion down into the cartridge and up against the crystal. Somehow it twists the crystal. That's the crystals that are in here. So looking now at the needle, there's a dramatic difference here. Let's see if I can figure out which one we're looking at. take it out here. Take a peek at it. Flip it this way. Wow, it's really unclear. What does that say? S? What's that mean? SD. Yeah, nothing coming out of it. There was. The other side, I think it's just blank. Huh. How are you supposed to know which side's which? Well, I'm going to guess that with it flipped this way, the needle that's exposed is the micro groove. Maybe we can figure it out just by looking at them again. So the needle, because that yellow piece is bent, you know what? This isn't the right needle, or the needle's not in properly. Well, it's in properly here. I don't think this is the right needle. It's pushed the cantilever part there. Yeah, see, that's not the right needle. It's pushed, or the cantilever's on the wrong side of that funny plastic piece. Yes, the funny plastic piece. Plus the angle, what's the angle? I'm pretty sure they want the needle to go straight into the groove, so I guess this is anticipating quite a steep angle on the cartridge. Something like that. Yeah, that doesn't make much sense what I'm doing on video, but yeah, you can really see how far out that's been pushed. And I wonder if it's just supposed to be on the other side of that little collar arrangement. Let's look at the other one. Yeah, so the needle's done differently here. You can get them both side by side. So what do we got here? So we've got the I'm just going to call it as I see it. Flat, round, tiny. That's the flex point. That little tiny part there, that's the flex point. Round, flat, round. Flat, round, flex point. Something different there already? No? Flat, round, flex point. And then we have flex point, thing, and thing. They look identical. Flex point, thing, and thing. Now out here, yeah, see the yellow thing is on the other side of the collar. Well, this one, is pushed it. I can change that. Easy enough. The needle's flexible, so it should be able to lift up. And oh, it's been like that for a long time, I think. Okay, so now the needle is riding much more securely in that piece there. Okay, carry on with this one again. So again, the needle looks very good. It does not look worn at all. Yeah, I'd say after moving the whatever you want to call that part, I think we're in much better shape here. Needle's protruding much further from the bottom of the yeah, I think that's much better. Okay, let's look at this other one, the last one. So is that full of junk? Is that what that is? What's all that stuff? It's just a bunch of junk in there. Well, the needle point looks good. So I have three good needles, 2 good cartridges. That's what I think this amounts to. See if I can just blow that stuff out of there. Some of it. It's really stuck on the back of the needle. Oh yeah, look at that. Wait a second here. Oh. A little better. Whoop. Hard to look at when I'm shaking like this, eh? Yeah, I'm sure we got 2. I mean, these are certainly not damaged needles, they're really in good shape actually. Okay, let's. So what I've got to do, I have to transfer the, this is what makes this head shell nice. It's out. It's out. Hey. 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 Try this camera. That's what makes the head shell nice. You can work with it out here and not have it on the record player. And you get the rest of these off without pulling the cartridge apart. That one just fell off, practically fell off. The one that wouldn't go on very far. And there's the guts came out. Well, from here it's fairly straightforward. The wires follow a pattern. The wires are exposed under here, so I can always double check, but there's a standard sort of pattern. I'm going to take the needle out of here because it's good. Not so much for the cartridge. Now there's a lot of potential precision in how you do this. You know, the position of the cartridge and the head shell, of all kinds of little issues there to try to maximize the function of the record player. Bracket off here. Didn't realize that. Okay, I shouldn't have loosened this. That's okay. Put this piece back in. And just snap the new cartridge in after doing the wires. Okay, that's fiddly work. I will fiddle it all together. Okay, so I just spent a little bit of time in front of the TV. Oh, that's a mistake. Popped on CNN. Of course, the Americans are having their starting their investigation into January 6th. The only thing I'd like to say about that is what I learned from Pierre Trudeau. I betcha I was 16, 17. I heard him give a speech. And in the speech, he harped on something that he harped on all the time, but it was the first time I stopped to really think about what he was saying. Nationalism is a social disease. Nationalism is dangerous. politicians should not use nationalism as their way forward in a democracy, that's for sure. And what I'll say is everything you see happening in the United States is because of nationalistic thinking. If you're an American, you're a citizen of the world just like me. We're all in this together. Okay, enough of that. Enough of that. Enough of that. You know, in Canada we have our own problems to sort out. And I can't do anything about what's happening in the United States other than talk. Now, we'll see if we can pull out this. Get the pin out of there. How am I going to get the pin out of there? I need to put two wires against each other. Okay, here we go. No, not close enough. Let's try it like that. There we go. So if you didn't quite catch what I did there, I grabbed one piece with this, and then I crossed the pliers. I had them in contact, and I used that as a way to wedge it apart under a lot of control, rather than do this, because we know where that leads. So these are all poorly soldered, they're barely on. I keep tugging them to make them come off. One has come off. Two has come off. Two has come off. And which one was it that was blocked with solder? Let's figure that out. Maybe this is small enough? I don't think so. Oh, I can see it in there. This one. Okay. The others look fine. This one. Okay, I gotta hunt down some new pieces there. There's a couple in here. I think there's a couple in here. Yeah, there's right here. Brand new. Get two of them here. Okay, wow, this is like micro work here. I can't see any of this. More fiddly work. I will fiddle away on this off camera here. You know, the problem is if I turn the camera off, I'm going to walk out of my shop, I'm going to sit down in front of that TV and listen to the sad story of the policeman at the American Capitol building, was it? The sad story is partly what happened on the 6th, obviously. But the sadder story is what's happened since then. How hurtful. Well, okay. I'm going to work away on that. Okay, I think I've got a couple of new clips on here. Let's see if we can get this in. Okay, now there's a good chance these are going to come off. Now I know the pattern because I studied it. Let's start with this green one down low here. Yikes. Okay, green one. Great thing about this is if you get them on without the wires separating, you're good to go because there's no movement in here anymore once you have it done. Okay, that's the blue one. These are the new connectors here. Let's hope they grip. Oh yeah. Oops. Off the cartridge there. Okay. There we go. Can't believe it actually did it. I did it. Yeah, they're all connected, nothing shorted. Okie dokie. Okie dokie is a happy thing. It's a happy thing. Now, in the meantime, today, the owner of all this came over and dropped this cord off, which is the real power cord, which I'm going to use, rather than the jury-rigged system I have here. Let me pull this out of here. So I watched just about all the testimony in the United States in their January 6th investigation, the testimony of the four police officers who were involved, and pretty powerful stuff, pretty powerful testimony, and you know, but of course, no more said. I will say that, no more. Okay, power, right, lost track of myself here. So this is unplugged, so it's completely safe. So I will grab that wire. This eliminates the concern about well, maybe it doesn't. It may not eliminate the concern about grounding this. It only has 3 pins in it. One of them's open. Wasn't there four wires underneath here? So there's 4 connectors here. Each one has a wire coming to it, and yet in this plug there's only 3 receiving things. Now that's kind of odd, isn't it? Now this is a polarized plug. It only goes in one way, this way. And so this ground wire here that I was talking about earlier is going nowhere. It's not carried back to the receiver. How do you like that? So how do they ground this? I don't know. See, like I just explained again, this metal, all this metal here is not connected in any way to the motor circuit, whoops, or the sound circuit. And the problem with that is if you have all this metal floating here, it picks up signals. It picks up 60 hertz and who knows what else it might pick up. And then this thing is like an antenna shooting out its signal. And guess what's right next to it? All this very sensitive wiring here, the cartridge, all that stuff. And so you get a hum. That's what it ends up being, a hum. Just because you're letting this metal float and act like an antenna. So you need to short the antenna out. You short the antenna to the chassis. That's the whole story. So we're almost ready to start this guy up. I still have the audio fed directly into my sound system. We're not going through the stereo yet. Okay, let's put this in. Here we are. Coincidentally, I have another someone who discovered me, a new customer here from where I live, actually. Phoned me up and asked me questions about almost this exact turntable, cartridge, and needle. I said to him, well, funny, I happen to be working on one right now. So this is showing the oops. Oh, you can hear that. Ooh, That must have been blasting in the speakers there, because I heard it coming out of my headphones. Okay, put this on. I have left this volume turned up all this time, so there might have been a bit of a hum and all kinds of other weird stuff. Ooh, that's a lot more sensitive than the last time. I only hear it in the left ear. Come on, really? All this? So right now, only the left channel is connected. You should hear this. Son of a gun. What is the problem here? Is it not what I think it is? So I'm going to check my own system out. Here, I've got to see we're not plugged in for power, so nice and safe. I'm going to pull this out of here. Well, it's not these. Here we go again. I didn't by some chance put the wrong cartridge back in there, did I? Put the old one back in. So to prevent that, I took the needle out of the original one, so I wouldn't be stupid enough to stick it back in there. We've got the same problem. Same channel, too. Same back time, same back channel. Okay, making sure these are plugged in all the way. Still just a one-channel deal. There could be a muting switch in here. Well, if that's the case, the muting switch should be gone. There's no on-off switch action here. There usually is. No. Difference. One ear. It's not my headphones, is it? Is it my headphones by some chance? Are you hearing it out of two and I'm only hearing it out of one? No, because I tested this. I tested my headphones by doing that. It's got to be something up here. So I'm gonna fool around here with the cartridge a bit. See if we start hearing stuff out of my. In fact, I'm gonna turn down the left channel. In my ear, it's the left channel. Okay, wait a second here. Wait a second here. Yeah, we hear nothing. Okay. Okay. Anything at any time. I didn't hear a thing. I expect to hear some clicks and pops. Oh my gosh. Okay. Let me do the study again here. Here we go. Son of a gun. Okay, so here is one. That's the channel we don't hear. And then nothing else. What the heck is going on? What the heck is going on? How can this be? Plug in the cartridge, hear the left channel. Take away the cartridge, only the right channel works. How can this be? Let's see if there isn't a nuller under here. It's way heavier than I thought. So if I were a nuller, where would I be? Well, I would be associated, I would be right inside here. That's where I would be. Let's take a look at this situation. I think I overlooked something here. Okay, so last record player had trouble with exactly this thing. Let's just, and in the end, I had to disable this completely because the plastic part in here looked as if it had been messed up. Let's take a look at this one. I'll show you how this works too. I just use the close-up. The sort of close-up camera here. The closer up camera. Okay, so what we want to look at are those two fingers sticking out there. They look funny too. Hey, could just be what it looks like. Could just be what it looks like. So on the other record player, see how they're sitting in an indent? The other record player was the other way around, I think. I can't remember now. There was an indent and there was also a rise. And the rise piece was missing on one channel. And so without the rise piece, the switch didn't operate. Something like that. I probably have the story turned right around, but that's okay. Well, let's take the cover off here and see what's going on. What's holding it on? What's holding you on here? Not much, that's for sure. Here we are. Give you an idea how light these wires are. These are really, really fine wires. Shh. Whisper. Well, it looks fine by the eyeball. Let's go back on the other camera. So if we look at how the switch actually works, so I think the switch action is right in here. So that would appear to be not in contact by my reckoning. So the record player is sitting in the play position right now. As soon as this wheel starts to turn, these pieces of spring metal here, we're hearing something, aren't we? All kinds of little bits of dirt and debris falling out of there. The little bits of spring metal are pushed up against this contact here. So in fact, they're open circuit right now. So you'd think, yeah, we could hear the sound coming through on the cartridge. Are they both open? Is one of them shorted at the back there? And as soon as this wheel turns, maybe I can turn it a little bit. There, I turn it like that. It's the wrong way, but then the switch closes, and now the signal can make it to the amplifier. No, the other way around. The switch closes and everything's shorted out. Yeah. Everything shorts out. It shorts it out. And then when this thing gets around all the way, it does one cycle and then stops here. Switch open. It sure looks open. Let's see if this is working at all. If anything, you'd think it would fail to short out. The idea is to short out the cartridge during the mechanism operation so you don't listen to it coming out of the speakers. That's the concept. So the whole time this drive wheel is turning, the short is on and no sound. But when it finally gets to its final resting place, the switch opens here. Let's do some touching. So the two red wires should make sound in our ears. That one does. How come the other one didn't? Hey, what's going on there? This is in the operate position. How can it be? Am I not touching the right thing? Sure I am. I'm not touching right on this. What's happened? I turned the sound down. Jim, you turned the sound down on one channel before. Yes. Troubleshooting. Shooting your own trouble. Okay, we can go back to doing this again. interesting experiment now. I'm standing with rubber shoes, so I'm floating in space electrically. I am doing the same thing this piece of metal is doing. I'm picking up signals, and they are in me. I can then touch this. I can apply the signal that's in me, and you will hear it, right? But here's the interesting part. Watch what I do with this hand. Only do this if you're sure it's safe. Well, why does touching it make it quieter? Because now my signal is shorted out onto the chassis here. There's not a lot left to be sent into the wire. There you go. Now let's get back to what we were trying to do, which is now we go on the other side of the switch. Switch is open. Everything's fine. Now we'll close the switch. So, switch is unreliable. As long as it opens on the play position, that's what's really important. And it is. It's open. So, again, you got to go all the way back to the cartridge again. If there's something a little bit intermittent in this deal here, I might be chasing my tail for a while. There's 5 clips here. There's 5 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And you can see both channels are working. So I didn't realize there were 5 there. But there's 5 here. Okay, there's the 5th one hidden down in here. So in the same way that this has to be grounded to draw out any signal that's floating around in it, same thing with this piece of metal right here. This piece of metal. And so what they have is they have this contactor here, which is then got its own, I guess it has its own wire. Would it have its own wire? It must have its own wire, I would think. Well, there's nothing hooked up to it. There's nothing hooked up to it, and the only wires coming out here are the 2 signal wires, the 2 shielded signal wires. That's why this is a feature not being used. So they've left this. So, potentially this could cause some hum in the cartridge. Now, these cartridges here are ceramic cartridges producing like a volt. Probably you'd never hear the hum because the amplifier is not strong enough. But you put in a magnetic cartridge here and the picture changes because now the signal level coming out of the magnetic cartridge is very, very low. And any other little thing is going to show up. So probably you would utilize this if you were running a magnetic cartridge. That's my story. I like it. What am I doing now? I'm still trying to get both channels to go. And I really convinced myself this was a good cartridge. I'm pretty sure I have the wires right. Red and green go together, white and blue are left. Literally. Let's repeat the cartridge test. Let's see if I booped up here. Out here. Couple of leads. wires here. The oh so powerful clip. Here's one channel. Don't fall. You might want to argue that's not working. That's definitely working. The other channel. It's pretty mysterious, eh? Oh, yeah, 0.4. I saw 0.4 there. You try to tell me the problem is between these, this and this? It's got to be a contact problem here. Okay, well, let's check there. Let's check here. How can I do that? Not really. This might distort it. Okay, it's going to be sitting on the needle, more or less. Not quite on the needle. Do yeah, like this. Okay. I'm trying to knock the needle a bit. Yeah, there it goes. You saw it. You saw it. Now let's try this other one. Okay. Knock the needle a bit. Wait a minute. That didn't work so good. Let's try that again. Okay. No, not okay. Okay. Hey, what's going on there? Why is it doing that? So that voltage, 200 and something, that looked, or 0.2, I think that was because of an open circuit. Like, let's just stick a clip lead on here. Let's see what we get. Well, all depends where you swing this piece of wire. So it does look like there's not a electrical connection between these and those, and that is the quiet channel. How could that possibly be? How can that possibly be? I might have to get the microscope going on this, but let me look with my own magnifier here. See how this could be. Wait a minute. Wait a cotton pick a minute here. Something's going on here. Yes, there is something about this that I didn't see first time through. Let's see if we can get a good look at it here. Now I have a little trick I can pull with this camera. I can actually fit my magnifier right on top of it. Now take a look at this. If I can just hold this still enough. What's all that stuff? Why, that would look like glue on the left side. Well, what's somebody gluing? Now look at the other side. So those strips, I'm gonna guess that what's happening there is where's the lead wires? Before I take a wrong guess, where's the lead wires? So the lead wires are tied right on the ends. So the end of those contact pieces bend upwards and then are soldered directly to it. So they're soldered directly to it. But what has happened here that somebody has stuck glue? And why would that cause a problem? I mean, so what? They've been glued there. The glue is interfering with the ability of these things to make a contact. The problem was making contact through here. Well, what have they done on the ends here? They do something there. Failed to solder it. Made in Germany. One. This is the first one. First one they made. So it kind of looks like those black pieces there. I'm kind of holding the spring parts in, and it looks like a plastic rivet. So it's a piece of plastic come through and then they melt it down onto it. These ones, that part appears to be missing. Why would that be? Somebody removed these and put different ones in? That just sounds impossible to believe. Well, I don't see what the problem is though, just because there's glue there. Unless the glue is somehow what? Okay, I gotta back up the card here. I have to remake an observation. Holy smokes! Let's try this again. Back of the cartridge to tip of the contact. And we're looking for not voltage, we're looking for resistance here. We're looking for a lack of resistance. You know, I can make a contact with a couple of these. It doesn't matter when I'm doing the testing. A couple. Slippery. Everything's slippery. So slippery. Really? That's just not going to work. Son of a gun. Okay. Where's my handy hand here? I'm holding three things at once. That's the problem. We're going to reduce it. Should probably put a clip on this side. Let's do that. Start with the white one. We don't need to have done all this, but that's okay. Why isn't this going? The white one is the outside one. I'm on the white one. Smokes. It's like I'm almost like touching at two ends of the same piece of metal here. Let's try this. I'm not sure what I'm clipping onto there. It could just be wire insulation. The wire itself, the little tiny piece of white wire is the problem. On the wire now. You gotta be kidding me. What happened to this little piece of wire? Didn't make a connection down here. Didn't make a connection up here, but I was pretty much on the wire. Let's go here. Okay, there's really not much metal exposed. Oh, there we are. I get a 0 there. But I cannot get a 0 here. Now I get a 0. What's happening here? What is happening? What is happening? I ask that a lot, don't I? Now it's sort of working. Did I get over on the wrong side? No. Did it start working during all this? Scared myself there. Hey, that's stereo. It was stereo and then it stopped. Wasn't it? Wasn't it stereo at first? There. You can hear it moving all around there. Stereo right to the last moment. Stereo now. Oh, it's the crazy dual contact thing. You clean those very effectively. So these are silver, you know, you really shouldn't be doing too much to them. Oh, shoot. To put that down. This is a good way to have this upside down like this. This is the first time I've been able to comfortably see these things without getting down on my hands and knees. So it's pretty solid black on these. And you know, maybe I should have been more suspicious of them, because this is often the problem with these record players. Okay, a lot of the black is flaked off now. So when I'm doing this kind of thing, and as I make determinations, in my head I'm saying, yeah, right, every time. Cartridge is bad, yeah, right. I don't believe myself. Okay, a little volume. And is it stereo? No, it's not. It is not stereo still. Just the left channel in my ear. No, I won't do any stereo. Did I turn up everything? Yep. Yep. So I kind of wrecked it there. Yeah, not even for a moment. Not even for a moment. How come? How come? Shorting things aren't on, eh? No. So the left channel sounds a little weaker, but that could easily be my audio system doing that. But it's there. Why? These are pretty clean up in here. I imagine the contact is just on the bent edge. I would imagine. Let me bend these up just a little higher. Yeah, see, they didn't make these of steel. These are made of copper or something like that, and they're really not very. They're not as springy as you might want. easily bend these. So let me whip these ones a little bit too. Okay, let's try that. Let's see what happens. Hear what happens, rather. What's the matter here? There we go. Still just one channel. Use this. Channel we hear. What am I touching? Okay. Channel we don't hear. Wire we don't hear. Contactor. We certainly hear it. It's just this deal here. You son of a gun. Let me repeat this test through it. Start just this white wire. And then we should wake the meter up. It's getting late. It's getting very late here. The circuit. Let's just check the other one. You're an open circuit still. Get all the way from here down in here. Thought I saw this. It's really weird. Okay, on the copper of the wire. Hey, cold solder joint. Oops. Yeah, look at that. I think it's a cold solder joint. I think I may not have soldered it as well as I could have. We're going to do it on the back of the cartridge. We will. See, I have that clip lead on there. That'll act as a bit of a heat sink, so that heat won't travel up too far. And I'm just getting lazy here. If I pull that thing off and solder it and try to stick it back on, there's a good chance I'll just make a bigger mess. Let's see if we can do this pretty quick. Small amount of metal here. Probably, if you've watched me do lots of soldering, you've probably seen me numerous times pull the soldering iron away and then boom, blow on it very strongly just for a fraction. And what I'm trying to do there is knock the temperature down from its high temperature, just knock it down a little bit. I'm not trying to blow it down to room temperature, I'm just trying to take the top off the heat, so to speak. Okay, we check now and see. Did we solve this? Has this been solved? What's the meter say? The meter says... What does the meter say? Meter says I'm good now. Let's see what the record player says. See, I'm just taking the voltmeter probe and holding it on there has depressed this thing downwards. One channel. One channel. cleaning those contacts. Volumes. I turn the volume down. So I've been doing this work for almost 10 years now, I guess, something like that, somewhere in that range. And I finally broken down and ordered a can of deoxit. Oh no, really, have you? Just one channel. Yes, I have ordered a can. The reason I've never had deoxit in my shop is because it's too expensive. But I have another radio with similar kind of contact problems in a way, in sockets, in tube sockets. And I decided, well, rather than give up on the radio, and before attempting to change the tube sockets, which I don't want to do, maybe I should get some deoxit. This just seems hopeless. I don't understand how it is that everything seems to check out, but when you put it together you get nothing. What was somebody trying to do here? Well, what's the problem they were trying to overcome? They actually replaced those little things? They took the old ones out and stole some from another place and stuck them in there and then glued it? That's what it looks like. I mean, that's the only story I can come up with. It sounds awfully extreme. And it didn't work. Oh, hey, talking about working. There we are. I got it. Okay, so I think we know what the problem is. The problem is these doggone dual contactors. So I think what's happening is this contacts right on the leading edge here. But where it contacts on here, I don't know. Could be anywhere along there. So maybe I just didn't clean enough of it, so it gets a clean spot. I wonder what I have got that would do a better job than abrading this. I don't know. I don't know. What a runaround. Volume. There we are. Now what are the chances that the original cartridge is actually good and it's just me, you know the problem with confirmation bias we all have, right? Terrible, terrible problems with confirmation bias. As human beings, one of the problems we have is we think we're extremely logical, and there are lots of cases. Oh yeah, this is shot. This is shot. That's right, I pulled the thing out. This is shot. We think we're very logical all the time, but in fact we're incredibly illogical over certain things. And it's hard for us as human beings to realize when we are dealing with a logical fallacy. A quick example. Gonna buy a TV set, gonna buy it in that store. They're gonna charge me $450. But then I hear, just before I pay the guy, I hear I can get the same TV for $100 less across town. Sorry buddy, I'm leaving. Get in a car, drive across town, buy the other TV, save $100. Then I go off to buy a car. And I'm in buying my car. I'm going to buy a used car. I'm going to pay $25,000 for a nice used car. And just before I pay the guy, I hear I can get the same car for $100 less on the other side of town. I won't go. Say, what's $100 in $23,000? That's false logic. It's $100. Go across town and get your $100. So, and there's many examples where we don't think straight, and all the retailers know this. They all know it. Okay, enough babbling here. I'm going to stop at this point. I'm not even going to try playing a record. I have to do all the lubrication up here and get all that done. So that's for tomorrow. For today, after a long haul, I think I nailed what the problem was with this record player, and it could have actually been a coincident. Dead cartridge on one channel and dead machine. But I'll bet you that cartridge wasn't dead. It tested dead. But in any case, I sure killed it. Okay, that's the end of this for today. Tomorrow, lubrication, play some records, and rejoice. See ya.